A double homicide almost 2 weeks ago that's got no attention in the news media until now. John Schwada has the story you'll only see on Fox.
Roberto Rodriguez's nightmare, escorting the casket of his 16-year-old daughter, gunned down in a double homicide 12 days ago. The killings happened near 31st Street and Central Avenue, a melting pot of black and Latino families living behind wrought iron security gates.
She was my baby. For me, it was my baby.
Nelly Rodriguez, seen here in her Quinceanera refinery. Also killed, her friend Rafael Moreno, 25. Rodriguez's other daughter, also almost part of the tragedy.
So when she went inside the house, the two guys passed and started shooting for no reason.
The police say the two shooters rode bicycles, were African-American, most likely gangbangers, hunting for members of a rival Latino gang in an area racked by a deadly interracial gang feud. Nelly and Rafael, who were not mixed up in gangs, police say, were simply in the wrong place at the wrong time. After a funeral mass Thursday, friends from Santee High School remembered Nelly.
She was always smiling and with, I don't know, I don't have words to be telling you guys.
Nelly and Rafael were shot in broad daylight. In fact, at about this time of the day on a Saturday. Nelly's father says it's unbelievable to him that someone didn't see that shooting and can help police solve this vicious crime. In South Los Angeles, I'm John Schwada, Fox 11 News.
I show my homeboy this stuff. He doesn't believe that it's going on.
But Luis Lozano believes what's going on. He says his father was executed 3 months ago by Fruittown Piru Bloods.
And shot him cold blood, they blew his head off, man. That's not right, man.
51-year-old Lamito Lozano was just an honest, hard-working Mexican immigrant with 5 children. His wife says Lamito cherished his family. He'd come to pick up this stalled camper just a few blocks from the family home when the Pirus just shot him down.
You never know. When you see a black young guy, Mexican, you don't know if he's pissed at you or... You don't know nothing, As I say, innocent people always die.
And the day after Lamito Lozano was murdered, there was retaliation. Another innocent victim ended up dead, shot up in a Fruittown Blood neighborhood. A Mexican died, so a black had to die.
The reality is that this particular vehicle was targeted. It was shot numerous times by assault weapons.
21-year-old Lakeisha Darden, who was in town for a few days visiting friends, made the mistake of accepting a ride from some youths associated with Fruittown Pirus. Battered with bullets, she died in the back seat. Police have arrested these 2 Tortilla Flats gangsters for the murder. A third suspect, Eric Castillo, known as Tweety, is still on the run. People like Luis Lozano have had enough of the gang racial tension.
It don't matter if they're black, Mexican, whatever, I just need, I just want all this to stop, all this innocent killing.
Meanwhile, researcher Alex Alonso keeps running into signs that it's not going to stop. And it bothers him too.
Because it's about race, it's racial differences. It's not even about gangbanging.
So when he sees it...
Oh, this is a great shot right here.
He continues to document what he calls the biggest little secret going on in the streets now.
Racial fighting that's going on between the Mexican gangs and the black gangs in Compton.
And not just in Compton.
Yeah, I think it's wrong.
Compton police sources tell us there have been more than a dozen similar killings so far this year. Alonso hopes his research can bring attention to the problem. That people will then acknowledge that this racial conflict actually exists, and then do something about it before it gets even worse. In Compton, Chris Blatchford, Fox 11 News.
The tension between races isn't new. Over the past several years, it's shown up in gang violence, prison brawls, and high school fights. The root of the problem is much deeper, though, and involves a change in historically black neighborhoods, areas like South Central, Watts, and Compton, where Hispanics are now the majority.
Are they talking about this on Latino radio?
On KJLH, a Los Angeles African-American radio station, the tension between Latinos and blacks is a regular topic.
I don't think it's about some kind of endemic hatred of one another. I think it's about who happens to be at the bottom right now and who is competing for those very increasingly scarce resources.
The African community is angry because what we have has been taken and the job opportunities are no longer there.
Cedric Blackman owns a property management company. He says he spent his entire life in Watts.
It used to be like, oh, the Greens used to own that house, or the Walkers used to own that house, and now the Martinezes own that house.
Blackman says the change happened so fast, many African Americans didn't see it coming.
Some of the Mexican people here, we've grown up together and we've got along fine, but they never said, hey, they're coming in big numbers and this thing's going to be all Hispanic in a minute. No one ever said anything. Before you know it, there was the Martinez brothers, the Ramirez shop, the tire. I mean, all this used to be all black. Now it's all Hispanic. There's anger in the black community.
Anger because some African Americans believe they've been steamrolled by an exploding population of Hispanics that works for low wages and helps each other find jobs. And there's a feeling among some in the black community that as Hispanics have gained economic and political power, African Americans have been pushed to the side.
I deal okay with the black guys.
Tino Bocanegra says he's lived in Watts for more than 20 years. He owns an auto repair shop. He says it's true that some Hispanics try to avoid doing business with African Americans.
I talked to another guys who having a business like this. They're kind of scared dealing with black guys because they think they're bad.
Nicholas Vaca is the author of The Presumed Alliance, which documents the tension between blacks and Hispanics. He says as the Hispanic population continues to grow, this battle is going to play out in other cities around the country.
Latinos are going to exert their power. They're doing it in California in a significant way. African Americans are going to have to adjust to the fact that they are no longer the largest minority in the United States.
Following the murder of Cheryl Green,
we feel like, hitting a Mexican across the head just because, then that's what we do.
He's a gangbanger who goes by the name Killer, and with a name like that, he gets my full attention.
But we're not giving no passes to no Mexicans that gangbang. We feel like, hitting a Mexican across the head just because, then that's what we do.
He's a gangbanger who goes by the name Killer, and with a name like that, he gets my full attention.
But we're not giving no passes to no Mexicans that gangbang.
There is plenty of hatred to go around. Black gangs that hate Latinos. Latino gangs that hate African Americans. In the last 4 years, an 11% spike in gang violence that crosses racial lines.
You have a lot of the Latinos that are afraid as well. They're afraid to speak out.
So it doesn't surprise you that it would be driven by emotion?
No, not at all. I think that's basic psychology, human instinct. Absolutely.
Riding with the gang detail in Southeast Division very early one Saturday morning, we get the sense the cops are passionate about their work, but overwhelmed by the enormity of the crisis.
It's absolutely, it can be very frustrating. The sheer violence that occurs here is incredible.
Where is all this hate coming from? Gang expert Alex Alonso says it's really rather simple.
Some of it is just out of sheer hate and sheer, we don't like you living in our neighborhood and vice versa. So part of it is also just demographic changes that are happening across the county.
Just as we're sitting down to do that interview with Alex, the call comes in. Killer, the emotional gang member, is angry. He's agitated, and he's anxious to be heard. Killer has agreed to talk with someone who he professes to be his mortal enemy, a journalist of Mexican descent. As we meet, the tension between us is undeniable.
It's been happening. They actually took over some black neighborhoods and made it all Mexican now.
So really what you're talking about is the shifting, the way the area has changed?
Yes, definitely.
In general, it doesn't even matter if you're
talking... If all the Mexicans wanted to come across the border, we wouldn't be having this problem right now.
Well, you're sounding a lot like a Minuteman.
Call it what you want.